Hello, this is Richard Wilson coming to you from downtown Philadelphia. I was here to meet with a client. We had a 2-hour meeting and we worked from a 2-page document that I used to kind of structure the conversation, but that I brought out at a certain time during the discussion when it would benefit the discussion and I think our credibility and goodwill in the potential investment target's eyes. And I wanted to record a video about architecting negotiations and architecting conversations and architecting communication so that the path you lead someone down doesn't open up dark alleys that you haven't preconceived, thought out, and closed off with light at the end of the tunnel. So this means that if you have a client and you could present 3 options to them, and you know that one of those 3 options is an option, but it's not in his best interest to even consider that option. You know it's a horrible option, but for whatever reason, maybe his background's in manufacturing, maybe his background's in accounting, he might choose that option, even though it's in his best interest not. You might only present the 2 options instead of the 3, and just know that you're doing this in his best interest. And there's a fine line, there's a real difference between not disclosing something or lying to someone or just saying a half-truth versus just saying, here are the best 2 options that I believe. You don't have to say these are the only 2 options and try to not present the full reality. You can just say, based on all of our research, here are the best 2 options, and just architect that one bad option out of the conversation. Another thing that I often try to do while having a long strategic meeting is predict what the other person might say at each juncture, and then figure out what my response would be to that and what optionalities that would open up. In one negotiation that I'm in right now, I wanted to earn 10% equity in a 7-figure business by providing access to our resources and my team. But then I also wanted to potentially invest and buy a percentage of the company as well. But importantly, I'm deciding not to bring up that aspect because I think he'll allow me to invest at the same valuation he's at now at a later stage. And if I bring up investing right now, then us earning the 10% equity stake without having to put capital down might be in jeopardy, because as soon as he hears that we might be willing to invest money for part of the company, he might then say, oh yeah, well, I'm fine with you earning 10%, but you have to put 5% down as part of the requirements, and you just don't want to open up that can of worms. So I think when you're marketing, when you're capital raising, when you're selling, you have to be very cognizant and explicit about what doors you're opening, what conversations you're opening, and what different scenarios could go on in their head as you bring up a topic such as insurance, or you bring up a topic such as employees, or costs, or risk management, or financial modeling. It might lead to questions that you don't want to have to answer, or it might lead to questions that just distract the conversation. If you only have 30 minutes of time, you can't afford a major distraction talking about macroeconomics, or a major distraction talking about the threat of increased regulation if that's not on your agenda and that's not going to push your goals forward. So I think the point of this video is just to emphasize the real importance of knowing what you're trying to get done and why, what you don't want to have happen, and then figure out what the objections of the other party are going to be and have counter answers and things which kind of remedy those potential problems or issues or headaches for the person on the other side of the table. And if you go into the room knowing that, have thought through the scenarios, architecting the conversation, knowing the benefits of saying yes to your deal, and knowing what their top 5 objections are, and bringing those up and saying, here's the elephant in the room. I think you might be worried about some of these objections. Here's why I don't think those are a big risk and why it's still good to say yes and do this deal with me. And if you do that, at the very least, you're going to show that you're very thoughtful, that you've taken time to actually think about the situation, that hopefully you'll be that type of a partner post-closing and put that much value into every negotiation you do on behalf of the partnership or on behalf of that client, if you're representing them in an investment fund or an operating business going forward. And I think at the very least, it just shows well that you're a true professional. And I also think that it can't help but increase your closing rate as you get better and better at architecting those types of negotiations. So this is something I just got done using about 20 minutes ago, so I hope you found this video helpful. So Richard Wilson from the Family Office Club, coming to you from downtown Philadelphia, and we'll see you at the next video or at our next live event. Take care.